Hello, we are
And
live.
alright.
Just to
Oh,
pre-warn.
I
just
got me out
just
there.
just start it all up. So, welcome guys. It's myself, Mark, Scream, old school 3000. Yeah, that's who it is. And I'm joined here today by Funky Chicken as well. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thank you. Still surprised after all these years. Scream still doesn't know your actual name, but
Yeah.
there we are.
So. I'll be celebrating his lap one DNF very shortly. No, so yeah, obviously it's a sprint format today, so it's going to be a little bit more chaotic in quali. Should we just pick someone to follow? I'll be guided by you. You can tell me whoever you want to follow, and then we will crack on with them because it's not going to be an easy one to keep a massive eye on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think we'd have to go with Lifebout, just the championship leader. He's always been quick in quali, so he'll always probably be up there. But I think he had a bit of a poor qualifying last time out, so maybe we might see the same tonight, which would be a bit unfortunate. But
Yeah, but you can kind of get away with a little bit more in a sprint as long as you've got a bit of pace about you. Um, I think I suppose it's really tough this format. I think, especially the one saving grace. If you had no practice, it's a good opportunity. Like I hadn't, it's a good opportunity to get a bit of time in. So we'll try and follow on board, as you said, with Lifebout. So we'll ride on board with him on the onboard and see how he's getting on. Obviously, he's not doing as good as perhaps he would hope. He is currently in last, which is probably not the best of starts. You did say his qualifying can be a little bit all over the show, to be fair. So here he comes. He's up, coming through this corner, not really taking the apex at all. He seems to be struggling a little bit. I mean, as we've got Chris and Coxie, who seem to be doing very well up front and kind of swapping positions. The McLarens both doing quite well. Lifebout now starting to make up some places, but still looking, and that's going to be, should be a, kind of caught him in 4K there a little bit. That should have probably been that, and he's done it again. So he is really struggling here. This looks like a man who's put in very little practice. And and as he takes out a mark, and he's in the wall. It's probably for the best for him because he probably didn't want to finish that lap because he might have got in a bit of hot water in it for next race. And bizarrely, he's actually going to manage to come over the line in 17th because the others have been disqualified unless it parks him right in the back. But yes, so obviously Chris is the man on pole after a very chaotic one-shot quali. As we're sat here with Lifebout contemplating life at the moment, just looking out and thinking that could have probably gone a bit better. And yeah, so not really much to say in regards to it's a great lap from Chris, and 11.2 is pretty quick. There's a gaggle of people all within, everyone was within a second that finished their lap actually, which is quite impressive, other than Doom, who obviously had a massive moment somewhere. But yeah, that is merely the poppadoms of our free course dinner today, as we delve into the onion bhajis and the samosas before we crack on to the main event. But so yeah, 11 laps. Most will pick softs, I would assume. You might see one or two rogues on the mediums, but almost certainly this will be just a very simple stint on the softs. Probably not.
I think someone would maybe a bit psychotic to go for the slick tyres in these conditions.
Yeah,
this is torrential rain. Surely this is full wets.
Yeah, the lesser seen full wet in real life F1 might be coming out here because there are puddles in the pit lane. I wonder if they were anticipating that. I'm just going to have a quick look in the D2 chat. Let's have a look.
Yeah, there's been quite a few surprises I've seen in this qualifying. I think we've seen 3 of our championship contenders bottle it, to be honest. We've seen Killer, Lifebout, and also Doom all down in the bottom 5. So we've got quite a lot of ground to make up, especially with other title contenders being towards the front end.
Yeah, it's going to make for an intriguing, and also, I mean, I would assume, is the race? I'd love for someone to let us know if the main race is going to be wet as well, because I doubt if it's going to be dry. I don't think anyone would have done a wet setup at all, because it would be pretty daft to prioritise a sprint race. But maybe they have. Maybe one or two have kind of done a bit of a compromise, as they are very much on those full wets.
Yes, just a very mixed up grid now, so I think this will make a very entertaining sprint race, as we've seen Chris throughout this season have like just really strong pace at times, but also just the potential to maybe a spin or two. I think we've seen that. We've seen Alex the G be pretty competitive, and he's down in P7. And then obviously we've got the three main championship rivals, P16, 17, and 20.
Yeah, and Luke isn't here today by the looks of this, so he's obviously... I think Coxey's, as one of the reserves, has jumped into his grave, so to speak. So Lifebout and Doom, yeah, like you said, both really struggling. Alex the G, not, seventh isn't particularly impressive. So yeah, and Killer's right at the back as well. It's almost like we've had a bit of a reverse grid situation, other than Chris, who, like you said, has good pace. When he finishes a race so far this season, it's been on the podium. But the problem is he's only finished one. So let's see if that changes today, as we have a Haas flying around, by the way. I don't know who that must be. It's either Patuka or Cross Liam. I've just noticed that. Oh, it's Lifebout. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Lifebout. He's just absolutely gone for it. And he's got himself disqualified as well. So not the best of starts there for the young man.
No, but yeah, also I think it's the best qualifier. I think that's second McLaren seen all season. I think Luke has averaged a qualifying position of 10.5, and Cox is going to put it P4 in his first attempt. Good
effort from him. So we are nearly off. Chris will take us away. He's ready for the 5 red lights pretty much as soon as that last car parks itself up. I think 1 or 2 just still getting ready, but we should be off, and we are. So we are 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5 red lights, and Chris gets a bit of an edgy start. It seemed like the screen got a better first kind of phase, but he hasn't really capitalised on it massively. This is a shocking camera angle that we've currently got at the moment, so hopefully it goes towards the corner a little bit more, as we've got side by side as Chris going from the outside to the in, and here we go. He's going to try and hold it around the outside here, and it looks like he's not going to manage it. He may get squeezed out a little bit here. Oh, this is really close racing, but he does manage to keep hold of it. Fair play to him, as Coxey has moved up a position. We've got some movements in the back and the middle of the field. Lifebout looks to have had a small issue. Nothing that's complete. Oh no, he's had a big issue. Lifebout is round, and that is not a good start for him, as Cross Liam getting past the midfield is congested like anything you've ever seen. This could be chaos, as Doom is managed his way up to 12th. Killer with a great start as well, up into 13th. Very hard. The camera angles here.
I think I've just
Sorry, yeah, the camera angles are not giving us much justice here.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I've just witnessed a murder down there. I just saw Patuka just go for an absolutely massive send down the inside. He's hit about 3 cars and even pushed his teammate off. And that's how he ended up in the gravel, and just on rejoining, just maybe a little bit too eager to get going, and span it round.
Bit of chaos as Doom looks to be always behind. It's Darry and Adamako. They go wheel by wheel. That was never going to end well. There is some contact. They seem to get away with it to a degree. Patuka somehow is not near the back with his teammate, as we've got a lot of movement here. Killer right on the back, and Larkin is right on the back of Alex G. He's going to make the move. I might have to get out a broadcast cam, because this is genuinely shocking in these conditions. But he does manage to make the move stick, and Killer has got Doom for company as he's trying to get past Alex himself. So very congested, very, very congested. As we've missed an overtake for the lead, unfortunately, as the Scream has managed to get past Chris. Now, keep an eye on the man in 5th would be my advice. The top 5 are breaking away a little bit. The man in 5th, Rick, has got some very good wet weather pace, as we're seeing Alex now going wheel to wheel with Killer. He's going to have Yeah, Killer's going to back out of it. Killer thinks better of it, which is probably the wise idea. Spatuka, though, is going side by side with Darry. Ooh, there's kind of no quarter given there.
Yeah, it's got to say, it's an absolutely brilliant start there from Killer. He started P20, he's up into P11 already, so that's 9 positions gained on just the first lap alone. But I think his teammate, though, has seen a little bit less success. He's had a good start, he's gone up a few positions, but he's falling back quite significantly from the top 5. But he's beginning to close in a bit as Rick seems to be struggling a little bit behind top.
Yeah, a little bit as Larkin. Oh, and there's chaos. Alex is off, and that seems to be a bit of a chain reaction there, as Alex has lost a boatload of places, and Chill has actually gone past him up into 14th.
Yeah, it's very poor start as well for Alex. He went from 7th to about 10th and is now down in 15th. But I think every time I've gone on board with Larkin, normally to say he's quite confident in it, it just seems like he's struggling on lap 1. He had a bit of a snap through one of the fast right-handers. I think nearly wiped out, I think it was RJ in the process, but no damage for either of them, so I think they've got away with it. But
yeah,
it's
Larkin,
surprising to see how much he's struggling.
It's almost like there's 2 separate races. It's like it's almost like Le Mans. It's like a GT3 race here in the bottom 10, and the top 10 is completely different. As Darry goes for a send around the outside on AJU and doesn't quite get it done. But I mean, to be completely honest, we could just stay with this 10th, 9th through to 11th and 12th, 13th situation, because it's just permanent side by side. Incredible racing. Not sure how much they'll be loving it, but as Adamako drops a couple of places around that outside line, it seemed like he couldn't quite find the apex for one reason or another, as now he's got Patuka for company, which one thing that I've already learned about that man is that he's not going to give you any quarter. If there is an overlap, he's going to send it, and he has, and it's not necessarily the wisest racing. And now Alex, look, we've got a Mercedes there with Chill. This is absolutely, I wouldn't want to be in this. This is too much stress levels for me to be racing this. I'll tell you that for free. As Killer has now got past Larkin, and he is making moves as RJ also gets past Cross Liam. What can we see here? Jew holding the inside, Patuka having to give it up, and then finding himself side by side with Chill, who has the inside line, and will probably now hold that for at least the next corner. But as I say that, Patuka's sending up the inside.
Yeah, I saw that on lap 1 with Patuka. He's just very eager to get going, you have to say. But I was on board with RJ for the last couple of laps here, and he's just been absolutely harassing the back of Crossley. And I think he went for a dive bomb, which is the first time I've ever seen him do anything like that. But he's managed to get the move done. He's already extending the gap. But we've seen the top 2 quite significantly pull away now from Coxey, who's now got a massive train all on the back of his gearbox.
Yeah, and it's a bit bizarre to be sat here looking at a battle for kind of 9th through to 14th, but it's incredible stuff. But Taupe is, like, as you say, on the back of Coxey. June gets past Larkin. Larkin is really suffering out there for whatever reason. Chill is also looking like he's having a bit of issue. And yeah, and look how far Killer's got up the road. Killer's now flying, now he's past him. But Rick all over the back of Taupe, who isn't quite as close as he would like to be to the back of Coxey, as we have yellows, and that's Darry. And that is a safety car. Wow. Okay. This is now going to be effectively a free lapper for unbelievable. I mean, you've got to feel for the Screaming Chris particularly, and even someone like RJ and Liam, because they're now right. They have no idea what they've been avoiding back there, and they're about to find it out real quick, I suspect.
But yeah, just looking at where he crashed on the mini-map there, I just think that's a bit strange, to be honest. I don't know if he was maybe trying to come in the pit lane and hit like the infamous bump, you have to say, which I think we saw Rocco retire for in Division 1, but yeah, as you were saying that, it just definitely screws over the likes of RJ and Liam, as now they've got Killer, Doom and Larkin all quite feisty, you have to say, just right behind them. And I think a full wet restart as well, it's always quite difficult, especially with the colder tyres and the traction being as difficult as it already is. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw any spinners instantly.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, right on board with the Screamers, he's the man who is obviously in the lead. But yeah, this is looking really likely, like it's going to be Yeah, I mean, well, it could be 4 laps, I think. I suspect it's going to be 4 laps from here to the end. Obviously, no one's gambling on the Inters, which is probably a wise idea. It looks absolutely atrocious out there. I'd love to have seen someone give it a go. Go on, Lifebout. Give it a whirl. What have you got to lose? Although he did pit, which I think is quite interesting. I'm pretty sure he pit.
Yeah, you did do. I think he might have got damage on. I don't know, because that. Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. I think we saw a few pit on
Oh, Larkin's pit. Oh no. What is he? Is this a tactical thing? Let's have a look.
Wing damage.
Okay. That explains his struggles in the wet, because like you said, he's not someone that normally struggles in it. So we've got a bit of back and forth between Tope and Rick, which isn't particularly what you need to see. Really interesting, because the guys at the back, I mean, the one thing with this game is that tyres are notorious for, the first few laps being very, very good. I don't know whether that's necessarily going to translate to the wet, particularly with a lack of DRS and all the rest of it, but it's worth a go. As Lifebout pits again, that's a bit risky.
Missed the front wing.
Again,
Someone crashed under safety car.
Oh my lord! Really going? What a strange day for him. I mean, he's got to be thinking, let me just get back out there, try and get up to 14th and 15th, and then try and pick up some points in the race. At this point, and chances are you're probably, if you don't spin from here, you're coming at very worst probably 17th, because at least 2 people are going to get in a confrontation, you would think.
But yeah, I think we also might be seeing, as you were saying at the start of the race, if the race is dry, we might be seeing some people Campbell's life out again, just nearly spins, just pushing a bit way too much, takes on the safety car. But you could maybe think like the likes of Chris and Screen might be running some wet setups, as they've not been the quickest of this season. They've had the pace, but maybe not as the top lot. But they seem to be a lot quicker than normal, you have to say, especially in these conditions. But they could just be wet maestros for all we know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Rick is another one who is very good in the wet, and he is up in 5th. Again, it'd be really interesting to see the pace of someone like Killer now, because Killer's pace seemed electric once he got past that kind of Doom, Larkin, all the rest of it kind of battle. As Larkin pits again, now that is super risky, because this is coming in this lap. I'm almost certain of it. Will Lifebout catch? I mean, it really, if you're the Screaming Chris particularly, and you've got any ambition to try and win this title, well, obviously it's only down to the Scream essentially, but I'd be flooring it if he hasn't caught up to the back. I'd go as soon as I can, just to ensure. Because he's so far ahead in the standings at the moment, you almost want to penalise him, as he is going to come out behind Larkin. They should be fine. It is going at a bit of a snail's pace. I can't imagine they're not going to catch, but yeah, in fact, they certainly will. But a little bit tight, a bit brave.
I think it's a smart decision from Larkin, because I remember saying he picked up a 5-second speeding penalty. So I think he's picked just to get that removed. And then, obviously, that might just not affect the grid at all, but wouldn't be sure if we could get a restart for a speeding penalty, but it's better to be safe than sorry, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And Scream is looking like he's going to kind of try and just maintain. What I like is that Chris is also maintaining a gap to him. I'm never a fan of someone being on someone's gearbox before this moment. Now you can forgive it in getting a bit closer. But yeah, it's going to be down to the Scream. It's going to be down to when he decides to put his foot down. It's a completely different track, this last sector. Before, it was almost obvious you go straight out the hairpin while people are still going through it. But now, you don't have that pleasure. It's a pretty flat out kind of section, as I think he has gone, and he has indeed. Chris caught a little bit napping there. Coxie is all over the back of him as we look through the field, and there is some bunching going on, but most people weren't really caught out. I think the biggest person that was caught out was Chris.
Yeah, that's not much to say. It's only 7/10 gap. It's pretty normal, to be honest. We've seen Liam and RJ go side by side here. A bit of contact there. I think RJ trying to go around the outside, a bit more contact here, but RJ's going to try hang it around the outside, but it's just too difficult, especially with the new added marbles, which made the car lose so much grip. But he's using his ERS, he might have tried to go up the inside, but no, he's going to stick in behind for now. As we've seen Life Out already gaining positions down the backfield, he gets past the Alpine of Venus.
You don't see Patuka's name in one place on this this kind of tower, do you? For very long, it's always going up and down. There's Larkin looking to make moves, and he is up to 16th. Lifeboat, unfortunately, down in 19th. But yeah, this is chaotic at best, as RJ seems to be struggling a bit. Doom is all over the back of him. And one thing I'm noticing is that Killer is really putting the pressure on Cross Liam, who doesn't seem to have the pace of the front six ahead.
Seeing Coxey and Taupe just get... Taupe nearly went for a move down the inside, then tried backing out of it and still almost hit Coxey, but Coxey's really struggling in these conditions, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's got a very dry focus setup on the moment, as just through every corner he just seems to be losing so much grip compared to Taupe, who is also in the dirty air.
There's Lifeboat now. He's flying. He's up to 15th. AJU seems to be getting a little bit bogged down there. Larkin now, though, is also all over the back of Lifebout, and Larkin gets up to 15th. So these two making moves.
Taupe's also... Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, Taupe's struggling, isn't he?
Yeah, well, Taupe's just got the move done on Cox there. I think Cox is the one who's struggling a bit too much. RJ there has fallen down to backfield with Hume, so I'm guessing there's been a bit of a collision there between them.
I don't know if they were next to each other, but I think they were. Actually, they could have been, but I think, yeah, both of them seem to have lost it. As they, we've got another set of yellows. Who's that? Is that D Morts? Could have been D Morts and AJU actually, as they seem to have kind of got lost off the back of it, and there is a big gap now forming. As Chill somehow finds himself up in 11th. He was not looking forward to this race at all. He was saying he's so off the pace. He's doing a decent enough job to have a bit of a sniff of that 10th place.
Yes, Chris also now is getting really close to the back of the screen. Was within 2/10 down the straight there, just lost a bit throughout the corners.
Oh, Larkin's round.
Lifebout and Larkin both around, so again, that might be some more contact there, but it's just going from bad to worse for Lifebout and Larkin.
Awful luck, and I mean, really, they were doing really well to just get something out of this race to go through the grid, and then they're both going to find themselves at the back of it, except for Doom, who obviously had an incident as well. So, as D Morts, very early down the straight, manages to get past IRT Ennis. So here we go, Alex the G, all over the back of Patuka, as D Morts again, a bit of up and down there, but Patuka, Alex the G, really taking it to the streets here, and they are losing a shed load of time in this battle, and I'm sure Killer, who had a bit of a moment there, was from the camera I was looking at, is starting to stretch away from them, as Rick is going side by side with J. Cole, and it's feisty. It's very feisty, but J. Cole is going to hold the inside line. He's going to give Rick the room. These guys, obviously, both Rick is a former organiser. They know each other very well. Very respectful stuff, but about as it's wire to wire with these two. And always saying that, J. Cole gets squeezed out by him across Liam. It may well get the pair of them. He's got the momentum. Unfortunately for him, he's got the outside line. That's the only issue he's got, but it seems like, yeah, unfortunately for him, J. Cole does get past him. Rick now is at the head of this new little kind of train that we've got, as Patuka is still fighting off Alex the G there.
We've got a battle for the lead now on the final lap of the race there. Chris just saving his ERS there. Is he going to side by same time when they made contact? Scream has just cut him off there, but Chris was also going for gap the word existing, but Taupe is going to try hang it around the outside, but can he do it with the marbles there? I think he might just get Chris, but I think he's just lost too much grip. That was
a hell of a moment. As yeah, we've got to stay here, haven't we? This is a battle for all the marbles. As Chris, yeah, really unfortunate for him, but Taupe, that will feel like a massive bonus for him. As Adamako and Chill having a battle, that's not going to help either of their causes for the last points playing position. As we have IRT Ennis in the pits, but can the Scream hold on now? He's got Taupe behind. like, looking quite pacey. They're all sticking with each other. Coxey can't do enough, in spite of the fact they've had a right royal battle. And then after all this, we've got basically Alex the G having a second little train behind as Adam Acko does indeed make a move on Chill. But this is it. This is probably going to be your winner unless he makes a glaring error through the last two corners. The screen will come over the line in first place, with Taupe in second and Chris in third, unless something very strange happens on this last corner, which it hasn't. And there we go. The Scream will get the win. Taupe in second, Chris in third, Coxey fourth, Rick fifth, Jake sixth, Liam seventh, Killer eighth, Alex the G ninth, Patuka in 10th. And all Chill is losing tons of places, and someone's in the wall. I think that was a house. It was Lifebout in the end. So Chill's had a moment in the last corner where it's cost him 2 or 3 places, and somehow Lifebout is up to 16th.
Yeah, I was on board with that battle there. I think Chill picked up some damage earlier on in the lap, and just through the fast corners, Larkin was just able to pull so much of a gap and managed to pull alongside, so kind of forced Chill offline there and allowed the others to just pile through.
Yeah, it's the main event is obviously still to come, but that was absolutely crazy for the side by side. Actually, sometimes the wet can kind of stifle a little bit of the kind of will to will, but we didn't struggle for it there.
But yeah, I think we saw the restart there take just a massive toll, that safety car. Just saw a lot of the drivers just making silly mistakes, little spins here and there, and the grid is just kind of shaken up, especially in the bottom half of the grid. But we'll go through the top 10 very quickly, as we only have 20 seconds, so Scream, I think probably the first time, has taken out a win in Division 2, followed by Taupe in second, so it's a German 1-2. And then we've got Chris in P3, Coxey in P4, and Rick rounding out the top 5. But then we've also got Jekyll in P6, which is where you'd expect him to be. Liam in 7th, Killer in 8th, Alex G in 9th, and Patuka in 10th. And just right on the time there, we got through it.
Yeah, I had a little scroll down so that whoever's doing the standings can have a look there. And it is very, very opposite weather to what it was yesterday / 10 seconds ago. Such is the way of the game. So yeah, completely different conditions. Will be very interesting to see some straight line differences, because I'm sure there are going to be some.
But yeah, I think it's going to be quite difficult, and just maybe it'll take a couple of laps for the drivers to adapt, because obviously in the full wet conditions you're having to brake earlier, to be a bit more careful on the brake if you know ABS, just so you don't lock up, be careful on the throttle, and then in the dry it's just, you can just completely send it, just full throttle out the corner, especially the last corner now, as it's a bit fast, you take more speed going into it, you have to lift off a bit in the dry, so in the wet I think you might even have to use a brake and a couple of downshifts, so might just be a few laps before we see drivers getting up to full pace, but I think we've got a very mixed up grid, so we'll be in for a good race.
Yeah, indeed, and just as a bit of a message to everyone, if they could perhaps get going and not to cause too many safety cars, because I want to see the USEC versus Daniel Dubois fight. So that would be very handy if you would be so kind. But I anticipate that might not happen. There might be 1 or 2 incidents. Yeah, it's pretty known for safety cars from what I've seen of D3 anyway. I don't know if there was any in D1. But yeah, we had a couple. One which was caused by me. So as the Scream will lead us off, tyre choices will be interesting. So let's have a look at that. We've got all sorts of differences. It's an absolute rainbow of Pirelli out there. We've got the front 2 on mediums, Chris on hards, Coxey on hards. So there's there's a good 5 people on hards. There's a few that have done the softs. I have to say, I don't really understand why anyone's using the hards. It wouldn't be a tyre that I would choose.
Alex G and Patuka have managed to make contact on the first lap, so I think Patuka is kind of carrying on where he started off in the sprint race, but
yeah,
it's going to be difficult for them as they're going to be starting on much colder tyres.
flinging it down the inside, and that's a nightmare for them, because what they don't want is someone like Larkin. They're probably not going to be massively fussed if Adamako gets past being in a softer compound. Although I don't think, judging from how Patuka, from what I've seen of him, I'm not sure he thinks in those manners. I'm not sure that's going to be a massive consideration for him. I'm really interested to see with the start that Rick gets. He is he's obviously a soft runner behind two hard runners. D. Mortz has got the same with Larkin. So Rick will be very, very keen to dispatch Chris and Coxey as soon as he can. So to the point where he has tyres left to attack Tope and Scream.
Yeah, and so it's obviously, you said it's very mixed up on the tyres there, so we're going to see just a lot of changing, especially on the first lap. But got a lot of soft runners down towards the back of the field, so I think we might see quite a few overtakes, especially in the middle of the pack.
Yes, no, indeed. So the Scream will lead us off with Tope in second. Hopefully we get some better camera angles than the sprint race, because they were not the best. As the last of the stragglers at the back, Darry and Ennis lining up. So here we go. Darry just disqualified, and it's going to be 5 red lights. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, maybe? I've got 3, and then we're off as the Scream does get the jump. Tope with a pretty atrocious start. Coxey's going to be next to him. Rick has got a flyer, as we thought he might do. And here we go, into the first corner, if we can ever see it. And here we are, Rick in 5th still. Coxey, as Chris has had a bit of a moment, and that has really helped Rick get up into 4th place. So not the best of starts. We've got chaos in the back there. They look like some sort of shrapnel flying around. Hopefully it's not Larkin again, because it seems to be, it might be at Patuka. He has got no front wing, as Rick is absolutely hounding Ryan. Ryan giving absolutely no room and causing carnage. So there we go. Cross Liam gets past Rick, and Rick does defend it well, and he doesn't give much room on the outside there. So he is also, though, looking at the back of Coxey. But yeah, the Scream away very well, but the front two already looking like they're getting away. Rick will be desperate, absolutely desperate to get past Coxey now.
Yeah, I went on board with Adamako at the start there. You could just see the difference, the temperature in the tyres, and also the extra grip he has. Literally within about a second he'd gone past both Alex Iji and Patuka, who I think also came together on the first lap, so they're both down the back of the field, and they then flew past Killer and then J-Cole, and he's now just past Chris and he's moved up into the top 6.
Yeah, great start from him, and he is going to be all over the back. He already will be, it's Patuka. That's going to be that for Patuka, you suspect. That's Cross Liam. Is doing a real good job out there, as well as Rick, but they do need to really dispatch Coxey as quick as we can, as I've got some kind of timing glitches. Coxey seems to be doing well on those hards, in fairness to him. I thought the front two were getting away, but if anything, he's kind of made a bit of ground on them. I've got some timing glitches, which isn't particularly helping me. But yes, it's a little bit difficult to follow action when all of the timing tower is completely utterly wrong.
Yeah, it's just a typical Codemasters glitch, you have to say. I've got it as well on my end, which is great. But I've got to say, I think D2's hit a new low point, as we've seen Chill ahead of Killer now. So it's been a great start from Chill there. He started quite far down the grid and he's now up into P9, so good start there for Chill. But yeah, as you were saying about Coxey, we saw Campbell do this really well indeed when he managed to keep up with the front four of like Montana, Connor, Nathan, and they were all on soft tyres and he was on the hard tyres. So I think it just takes a few laps to get him into the temperature window. Seeing Rick now go down the inside of him as he's made the move there into turn 1.
Just the grip levels are so different. If he overshot the exit, didn't he, a little bit? But he's got such a better compound that it didn't really actually it didn't really matter. So yeah, Rick now looking to kind of capitalise on this and keep up with the guys in front. Like you said, it's interesting. There's form for most hards perhaps performing better than I anticipated. I didn't think they were a very good race tyre personally, but
yeah, seeing Liam there go down the inside of Coxey, and that was a brave move. I think Coxey kind of knew he was coming through there and just backed out, but as you on about the grip there difference, I won't be surprised to see Adamako potentially follow us through on the next going down the main straight to just see how much grip he has compared to Cox, and he's going to gain through this final sector.
Oh, it's chill. Capitalising on what must have been some kind of error, I would suspect, from J. Cole. But Chris, I tell you what, Chris is doing really well. He won't be happy with his start, of course. But other than Coxey, no one else on those hards is ahead of him. So this isn't disastrous. He's doing really well to keep with Adamaco. And actually, I think he's got a much slippier car. As Toad gets past Scream. That was a DRS pass if I ever saw one. And he will now take the lead of the race. But Rick is sniffing all over the back of the pair of them.
Yeah, and I just don't understand some of the camera angles on this game. I just went on board quickly with Top to see the overtake for the lead, and I was shown his right wing mirror. So yeah, it's not ideal, but he's managed to make the move down to Scram. I think we'll probably see it's quite often between these two, just constantly passing each other with DRS along the main straight.
Penny for Larkin's faults. It's happened again. He has just not had any luck this season at all. Well, no, he's had a lot of luck. It's just all been bad, I think. But Rick not really able to do tons. It's interesting. The guys in front, maybe they just are naturally slightly quicker. And that's what's accounting for this slight oddity of him not making masses of ground. But Liam seems to be racier at this point.
Yes, also another driver who's done a very well back to the lap, but started on the hard tyres, already gained quite a few positions. He's managed to overtake a medium runner already, and he's looking eager to get back at D-Mott's head. We've seen another DRS overtake the lead there, Scream making the move once again into turn one.
Yeah, so they're probably going to swap a few times, you would imagine, unless one of them has a bigger pace advantage as Rick and Cross Liam, wheel to wheel. Rick is not surely going to be able to hold this, as I'll tell you what, he's done a fantastic job with traction around the outside there, and he is indeed going to hold this going through that section. I wouldn't have put money on that when I saw that side by side. That's excellent racing from the pair of them.
Yeah, it was great there from Rich, managed to in the throttle there and just keep himself alongside the entire time and just eventually get ahead there. But Chris is going to go for the move on Adamaco there, I'd assume. Adamaco got a very poor run out of the fast right-hander, then he's going to go down the inside. Does Adamaco fight it? I think he is trying to fight it around the outside, but I think them soft tyres are already starting to give up a bit more grip.
Oh, that's a bad contact. That's not a good contact. That's the kind of thing that you would potentially want. If that happened to me, I'd want that back, but I don't think he's getting it back, unfortunately, especially considering that is a whole 5 places as Killer. That is really good pace as well. So now Killer is the second highest hard runner, and he's just tagged J. Cole. Well, it's probably unfair to say he's tagged him, but there's chaos there as Doom is caught up in it, but he gets away with it. But J. Cole having a real nasty moment where they've just made a little bit of contact, and that's kind of impacted him quite severely.
Yeah, just maybe a bit of lack of concentration there, just like a lapse in concentration, probably better to describe there from Adamaco. Just a bit too eager on the throttle and just went straight into the back of Chris, causing him to have a bit of a weird jerk to the side, you have to say. It didn't really spin, but it's lost a handful of positions, so I'm sure Chris isn't going to be happy about that. But he's back in the train now. He's already looking to get the move done on J. Cole again. He's got a very good exit out of that right-hander, but this time he's just a little bit too far back.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so Liam is doing well to stay with Rick, but Rick seems to be, maybe that you are right with these softs, maybe they're just starting to lose a little bit of their gleam and their grip, because some of them look to be struggling, and even Killer is on the back of Chill. Obviously, you would rate him as a quicker driver, but Killer is flying, and he's looking like he's going to make this move, and that's him up to 6th. And again, the next person ahead of him is the other gentleman on those hards as... Oh, Chill's lost it. Did it about the same lap I did that. I did the exact same thing. Tyres just a little bit too warm to take that aggressive inside line, and it didn't work out for him. It's Chris now. Chris has also lost a couple of places, and Jacob's got himself a penalty. I imagine one of those warnings might have been for avoidance, so expect to see that one challenged. As now, look, Coxey is all over the back of them. I think you're right. Those softs are past their sell-by date, but they've got to hang on a few more laps for it to be viable.
D Morts has gone around as well now. So both Mercedes have spun around in the span of a sector and a half, you have to say. So it's all gone wrong there. And I think Morts has lost his front wing entirely.
That is the top two last year in D3. Will we see any pits? Will we see anyone? Probably not the front two, but could Rick and Cross Liam do it? Rick with the kidology. Adamaco does it. I rate that. I think that's a good move off those softs. As long as he's good. Oh, don't go to the hards. Pray for the safety car. Put those mediums on. I think they'll go, potentially. I know they can do 20 laps, but he doesn't get the full benefit, does he? And J. Cole's also been caught out a little bit there. So, not actually getting the full benefit of that full VSC. So they will gain time in a net perspective, but maybe not as much time as they were hoping. Adamaco does go onto the mediums. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, he's going aggressive on the strategy. There's potentially even a two-stop, or you could maybe make the one-stop work, but I think the tyres would just be a little bit too cooked, to be honest. I think they'll be gone by the end of the race. But I was going to say, Topal's starting to get away from Scream there, especially on the VSC restart, but Scream, I think he's used a bit of his ERS just to get back within that 7/10 window. But we're seeing Cross Liam and again all on the back of Rick, and Rick slightly defending that. I think he's a little bit worried about Liam's. He's just absolutely hounding his gearbox.
Yeah, and they've got to be careful, these two, because they have to appreciate they are, as much as they are enemies at the moment, it's only going to help Coxie and Killer behind, and Scream and Tote, who are both, they're all obviously all on different strategies, so needs to be a little bit clever, these two, to make sure that they're race, but you're not winning the race on lap 9.
Seeing Chris also now get himself back into the race. He's got past Hume now. He's just behind Killer's within DRS range here, so could maybe see him potentially just latch onto the back of Killer and just get himself back within the fight after that incident with Adamaco. So it's been a very good recovery, I have to say, from Chris there. He seems to have just got his head down. He's carried on driving. He's got himself back into a good position as we see RJ get past AJU down the inside of turn 4. AJU has a bit of a wiggle down the steering wheel, but RJ manages to make the move, moves himself up into P11.
A good move from him. Someone we haven't really mentioned much is Lifebout this race. We mentioned him a lot last race, but he is just quietly going about his business, working his way through the field.
Yeah, I can't remember what position he started in, to be honest. I'll have just a little quick check if I can. He's gone up 7 positions, so he started P16 this race. He's up into P9, he's on the hard tyres. And he's looking a bit racy now. He's looking to close in on Doom and potentially even Chris after this.
What's going to be really interesting is seeing how Adamaco goes through the field. Not goes through the field, but catches up to the back of the field as the Scream is all over the back of Taupe. It's not close enough. And the front three seems to be having, like they may call it, break away a little bit from Rick, who is at this point probably holding up Coxie ever so slightly.
Yeah, and Liam is looking just adamant to get a move on Scream here, so
J-Cole
right on the back of him there.
J-Cole gets past Adamaco, which I don't think Adamaco would actually massively hate, because he's on the softs, so if you can actually just stay with him and get a bit of DRS for a lap or two, it might actually improve his net overall time, bizarrely, because they are in the same race to a degree, but J. Cole is obviously going to have to make another stop, and he's going to know that. So it's not really in each other's fights.
Yeah, just going back to Cross Liam here, he's making them softs work, and I'm surprised he's still kept the same pace he has done. We've seen the likes of Rick, Adamaco just fall off a little bit, and Liam just seems to be getting even racier. Just getting even closer to Scream, and 4 tenths back here. So that might even potentially force Scream to go for a move on top, just to ensure he doesn't get overtaken.
And he's pushed a little bit, not massively, and he's pushed a perfect amount just to ease past. There's Lifebout, oh my lord, they're 3 abreast. Lifebout, Chris and Killer. Oof, I don't want to comment too much, but it looked a little bit interesting and ambitious from Lifebout. There was a bit of cycle action when I went on board. But he is through, and he is now the 2nd highest of those hard runners, which is unbelievable, really.
Yeah, it's just bizarre, especially from where he started there. But there's potential for maybe a little report there for just a little bit of a bump to pass. But we're starting to see Jaco now catch up to the back of the field. Oh, never mind that he's catching up to Adamako. So Adamako has also repassed him, so they kind of need to work together a bit here. As you were saying, they are kind of in the same race here. They both need to make another pit stop. So should probably let J. Cole go in front just he's on the soft tyres and the sound glitches back once again. So I'll have to keep on the off-board cameras just to keep my ears in check.
Adamako, to be fair, he may not have to stop. I mean, I don't entirely know. I will be completely honest. It's going to be a big ask to get him to the end, but if he doesn't have to, he's actually in very good shape for this race. As Chris and Lifebout now. And that, yeah, I've got the glitch as well, and it is absolutely brutal. As Darry gets past RJ. And yeah, this is one that I wish they would hopefully fix at some point, but I'm not holding my breath. As the scream, this is getting more and more compacted. And funny enough, Chris is actually, I mean, if you look at it, he's really not far away now.
Yeah, it was Chris here. I think the pack there of Lifebout, Killer, and Chris, they need to work together a bit more here. They need to keep like slingshotting on the back of each other just to get within that 1 second window of the car's head of Coxey, because as it stands there, Coxey's comfortably just sitting behind the soft runners who eventually their tyres are going to drop off a cliff, and I'm surprised they've gone 12 laps and they still haven't, but so that might also open the door for Chris.
I think one of them. I think now might be the time we see Chris or Rick gamble, especially because they're in. Wow, I'm amazed. I think they would want to undercut each other at this point. As Adamako, I mean, appreciate this is not technically true in some ways, but he is way ahead of them. By the way, in regards to we're ahead of the deltas for the pit lane. He will come out in first place as Doom and Killer having another little battle. And he gets
there's one thing you need to watch out for when they come into the pit lane is, as I ran about in the sprint race, is that horrible bumper, and I think we even saw Rocco get caught out by it in D1, so they just need to be careful. If you hit that bump, you're going into the wall and potentially just DNFing or losing your entire wings. So maybe worth losing a few tenths just to make sure your car remains in shape.
Yeah, a few attempts to save potentially a boatload of points for some of these guys. So Lifebout, look, they're there. Lifebout and Chris are there now, and we've got this top 9 now, whereas before we did not have this. I mean, surely Liam and Rick are thinking about this now. And they still go round. I mean, lap 13 is probably a lap where you probably want to pit off them, if I'm being honest. But I'm amazed that one of them hasn't thought about just covering the undercut off from the other. There's the scream with that DRS pass that seems to be the vogue. Them two are a really good example of working together, actually. Whereas some of the grid haven't done it quite as effectively.
Yeah, there's been one big surprise for me this race, and he's been very good when he's reserved, but got a full-time seat this week, and it's just been a bit of a weekend to forget to him. Alex the G, down in 16th on his first full-time race in the Aston Martin, replacing Wesker, went with a little bit of an argument, you have to say, but yeah, it's just a bit surprising to see him down in P16, especially I think he won last time out.
Yeah, he's not a good race, and again, it's followed behind by a long way behind from Larkin, who is also having an absolute nightmare. But the top 9 are very good at the moment. They are flying away from the 10th place, and surely now, I keep saying it, and yes, we have some pitters. The scream is in as well, which is really interesting. But Cross Liam stays out. Rick's in really good shape this race. Rick is in incredible shape, and I'm amazed that more haven't pit early, particularly anyone on those hards. Get them off. They've done their job. I mean, there is an argument you could stay out for a safety car. A big risk. This race actually doesn't look like it's gonna get one at this point, unless someone makes a glaring error.
Yeah, as you're saying about Rick there, he's gone onto the medium tyres, which will make the distance here, so I'll be honest, I think Rick is the favourite to win this race. We've got a yellow flag in the final sector. It's Patuka, and now we've got a safety car, and that has just blown everything up, you have to say. So now Liam, Coxey, Lifeboat, Chris, they all get a free pit stop onto the medium tyres. Doom and Kill are also in there, but that has massively ruined Scream and Taupe.
Scream, Taupe and Rick are all really, really in bad shape because of this. And I tell you who might benefit the most from this. And I don't want to say anything until everything goes through, because I'm almost certain everyone, the world and his wife, is going to pit. If you know that everyone's going to pit, I'm wondering if someone is going to inherit the race lead. And whoa, no. Ooh. That is not what you want to see. Everyone's so close to each other, unfortunately. Where is Adamako is in? Really interesting. I was wondering if anyone was going to have a little bit of a chance at it. I'll tell you what, the Scream might not actually be that bad. I'm riding on board with him. He's going to lose maybe a couple, but he's done all right. He's going to be up to third.
Yeah, he's very lucky he's got away with that. We've got a bit side-by-side action behind there between Chris and Taupe, but Taupe there, I think, is probably Taupe and Rick are definitely the biggest loser, and also Coxey as well, because he was... No, I don't know what happened to Coxey, to be honest. It was about... Oh, we've got a massive pile-up. What's his wings shattered in behind.
Oh my Lord.
I think.
What on earth has happened? I think that is going to be a complete and utter cluster mess, because clearly someone's gone into the back of someone, haven't they? There could be wing damage to galore.
Yeah, I think Coxey was slowing down. I think he might have maybe had a delta, but even though June run the back, I'm not sure there, but Coxey was beginning to slow down. Lifeboat just didn't seem to slow down, just went straight into the back of him. So Lifeboat, I'm 99% sure has got front wing damage, and I'm not sure about anyone else behind. So I think a 5-second penalty be dished out to someone as well. I think it was Darry. Yeah, Darry got a 5-second collision, but I'm not sure with who.
For RJ. So RJ has no wing. So I'm not entirely... And they're still not really learning, because they're all very close to each other. I'm not entirely sure what on earth has happened here, but there's 2 5-second penalties out there. Lifeboat and Darry. J. Cole's the only one with a time penalty, a traditional corner cutter. But yeah, bizarre. Actually, do you know what? I haven't seen... I thought there'd be more penalties, but people are behaving really, really sensibly. The last 2 corners are pretty messy. Oh my Lord, what's going on here? Lifeboat's in the pits. Caused a bit of chaos momentarily. I've got 2... Oh, God. Lifeboat and Darry obviously are going to pit. RJ's obviously going to pit. And they're going to go to the back, unfortunately. D. Mortz is probably coming around thinking, what on earth has gone on here? And he suddenly finds himself directly behind his teammate.
So maybe the Mercs can have a bit of a better lap, you could say, than that lap of terror they had where they both lost the car. But I'm just still in shock about what happened there, as we've seen all 3 of them go onto the soft tyres. I know we've seen Liam go quite long the soft tyres and make them work, but if you have a spare set of mediums, I think you just surely take that.
Maybe they don't, because if they used, did any of them use me? Oh no, well no, they must do, because it depends on what they used in the No, they have at least 2 sets. So let's have a look. Actually,
I've gone in the race director, and they've all only used 1 set of mediums.
It's very strange.
Yeah. I mean, Liam's proved they can make the softs go that distance, but he still had good pace towards the end of his stint, but just expect them to have too much wear towards the end of the race, especially on this game, as we've got the safety car in this lap. Especially on this game where the drop-off is significant.
I'm going to have to, unfortunately, pause the... I'm going to have to